that was very relevant. So not taking much of your time, once again, welcome Bhanu Varla, and I would be requesting you to share your journey, your story on this framework and how it's relevant, where you've actually applied with some use cases. Then as we move forward in terms of its adoption and other aspects we'll be touching. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a great pleasure to be here, and it's a proud movement to be part of Digital India. I mean, I am being one of that. The entire journey makes me feel more proud. That's what I personally feel, actually. The more important that I have seen in my entire journey of IT and IT services related areas, there was something change. That change was the IT revolution, which I was fortunate enough to see that revolution happening around the place. People never believed that a mobile could be used in such a dynamic manner. I mean, I was surprised to see a chaiwala, or you can take a servant who works in my house. She carries 2 mobile phones. I asked her one day, why are these 2 mobile phones for you? She says, one is for incoming free for me, the other one is outgoing for me. So this shows that the awareness of the program, the people they knew, the information was absolutely great, actually, which I never knew. There were phones which were actually incoming is free, outgoing is at low cost. That calculation was done, actually. So there is some awareness program. There was something going around the entire place which was like a revolution, actually, I call it.
Absolutely. In fact, the way even the small kids when they're born, the way they pick up and use the mobile phones,
Oh,
it
God.
shows that, I mean, any generation you talk about today, right from a small child to the elderly, they are well versed with the usage of mobile.
Absolutely. The recent times, like when the company when we started, we were working on IoT, and when we first started in my journey, if I'd like to talk about myself, there was a time when I started a company called Bartronics. It was a barcoding based company. People never knew, like, there was a challenge to understand how these barcodes were evolved. How are they used in a real time basis? Where we saw today, if you go to any supermarket or any retail market, barcode plays a very vital role.
Absolutely.
So that was the time when we started. I'm talking about 1995. I had an idea that we should have something, an innovative thing way to understand these calculations. So that's where I actually started my interest on the barcoding technology part. And we fought with the governments, many industrial people. We have been there and explained the usage of the barcode technology. That was the revolution, actually. It took a long time, but doesn't matter to us. But the entire story, if you look at it, we could able to gamut into the retail segment. We could go into the education sector. We could also use these barcodes in the manufacturing sector, which made people use in a simple manner. And that's a revolution happened.
In fact, today if you see any e-governance service we talk about now on the DigiLocker that we have, and we are trying to have any certificate that the government issues which is barcoded, because you could use the mobile to read that barcode and immediately verify.
Retrieve very fast.
Yes.
That's exactly what is actually happening. And that barcode has evolved from 1D to 2D barcode.
Yes.
Then you had an RFID tag. So many things have come forward, actually. So we were also fortunate enough first time to introduce the RFID technology into the technology area. Most of the things where we are used in manufacturing side, retail was one biggest boom there we have applied it. If you would have seen most of the people in South India, there's the biggest temple, everybody know that Balaji temple and Tirupati Devasthanam. The challenge came to us, it was like every time in incumbents we found a solution, the crowd management was the biggest solution. There was 1 lakh pilgrims come and visit temple every day. The challenge was the crowd management was the biggest challenge. In a simple manner, what we have done is we have actually given a tag, a wristband, which has got a barcoded.
Okay.
And you believe it, it has gone into the Guinness Book of World Records to use highest number of barcodes in one place.
Wow.
And that has eventually moved from barcode to use fingerprints.
So could you complete exactly how is it being used there?
Exactly. Now what happens when the people come across India to the temple, across globe. So let's take across India. So when people wanted to come down to temple, the challenge was to go, they are not sure what time they'll have the
pilgrim, meeting the god, visiting the god temple, darshan there, we call it darshan actually. So they are not clear about what time they're going to have it. So people used to come all the way from their villages, towns, other places and wait for the long queues, which is actually takes 36 hours, 24 hours, 18 hours.
I know, we have
depending.
our own experience also.
Absolutely,
We've also been there.
So what we did is, we said, well, let's find a solution. Because the return ticket, which the pilgrim wanted to book ticket, was the biggest challenge. Because buying ticket at the last moment was not possible. And he was not sure when he is going to have the darshan of the god actually. So what we did is, we used a simple technology. We said, you have different counters in all the states. Go and register yourself there, that you are going to have the dates. This is the date and this is the time that you are going to have darshan. So when you go at that particular time, what will happen is within 3 hours you are going to come out. So the entire crowd management system was designed in such a fashion where the moment these guys, when he registers here in Hyderabad, let's say in Delhi, and he goes back tomorrow and 20th, he reaches there and he gets a wristband with a barcoded wristband, which is put over to his hand, and he walks inside the place and he gets scanned there.
Okay.
At the right time, let's say 3 o'clock is the darshan, 3 to is
So
out
but
at 6
this
o'clock.
is used for the authentication of the person.
Absolutely. With the
Okay.
same person or not.
Okay, wonderful.
So we have taken
is
even
is
lot
it
of
being
measures.
used even today in the same manner?
Now, eventually the barcode which we are trying to use it, now we have converted that into fingerprint, biometric, more authenticate. There are a lot of technologies, biometrics are
As
coming
the
to picture.
technology evolves.
Yes, absolutely, we have done that.
Wonderful. I think so. What we see, and we are all really glad, and it's good that you shared one of your use cases with us with respect to the barcode and all. And I think the topic that today you would like to share, because there's so much of work that you've done, and with the kind of slot that we have,
Yes.
probably we would like to utilize your experience and knowledge that you have in terms of the self-assessment and the monitoring and the evaluation framework, its applicability, some of the use cases. Maybe we could spend a little more time, next 15 minutes on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is another framework which I could proudly say that when we started moving and meeting different governments, and because we were more prominent working with government organizations, helping them with the digital revolution that we call it actually. We've gone and talking to them like how these mobile applications, apps can be helpful actually. And the most happiness that we get when these officers we are meeting them, they're so much aware that this can be a part of the entire solution providing for the mobile applications. Now, if you talk about the self-assessment and monitoring evaluation frameworks, we have designed this with help of ASCII, Administrative Staff College of India, and many other government organizations, MHRD, which has already come forward and started working on that. So I'll just run through that so you will understand what exactly we have gone through that.
Okay, if maybe we could just quickly spend maybe 5 minutes running through, and then we could have a lot of question answers
Absolutely,
and interactive,
Okay.
so that we try and discuss and see how it could be used in the current situation.
Okay, okay. There was one solution that we have met one of the government organization. Okay, please.
Is it visible or what? Should we move? Yeah,
We move forward.
it's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a challenge when in the government, in Telangana government, which we have faced it. This was actually to construct toilets. The government of India has released some funds to the government of
Yes.
Telangana. It was, the amount of fund was released was 300 crores, need to spend on whether the constructions of the toilets are being done at all the government schools.
Yes.
This was the biggest challenge that they wanted to evolve, how to solve the problem. The most important is, you would have seen like many places when you construct the toilets and they have to somebody has to come and report it, somebody has to look at it, and somebody has to report in the books, go back and return back into the system back again there, and somebody has to come back again, check whether it has been done or not.
Right.
There was a huge process flow actually. This was a tremendous thing, the work which was laborious process, which was not making sufficient information to these officers whether the construction was happening or not. There are a lot of system. There is a lacuna in the entire system actually. Then we have come out a problem with solution using the mobile technology. It was a simple technology. What we did is we asked like how many schools were there in Telangana, which was the state we have taken the first state. There were 38,000 government schools were available there.
Okay.
And they're supposed to build about 38,000 toilets.
None of them had the toilet?
There were toilets which are very little toilets, like
Okay.
one or two toilets which
well
are not well
equipped.
maintained.
Yes.
And these funds were supposed to be allocated, supposed to be used to ensure that these toilets for the girl children and girls and boys and sanitation the entire thing was to be done actually. So when this was a challenge has come forward to us, what we said is the headmasters who are in charge, they will be in charge of the entire story. So we said the mobile phones, what we're doing, we have developed an app, and this app was developed in exactly 24 hours. We have done the entire story for the understanding what is the critical components of this solution that to be given. So I'll come back like a story to tell you. What we did is we have asked the teachers, we asked the officers like how many schools are there and do you have a long and lat locations of the schools. It was fortunate that all these schools had the long and lat and we had the location name. So we could immediately take out the long and lat and locations into the entire database with us. That was a minute's work for us, like 2-3 hours we could able to generate the long and lat of all the schools across the state. The next part what we understood is the mobile phone which was app was given, these headmasters would be in charge of going and allocating and checking whether the toilet has been built or not. They would go all the way to the place there, and this mobile camera we used to open only when they are at the location there.
Okay.
So long and lat, that means they cannot be looking at some other toilet there and take some pictures. So if toilet is getting built up, so if suppose the allocation was 35,000 rupees to build a toilet, if suppose half is built, some amount was released to them. So it was the allocation of funds was directly involved with the app that we have been submitted. So there was no delay in the entire system to build up the toilets.
Completely automated. I mean, there was no
Absolutely.
human touch.
Absolutely.
Oh, I see. So you have been able to monitor the entire information during the construction of the toilet and also link the release of funds with that.
Yes.
Have you now used this platform in other states also?
Yes. Now a couple of other states which they have been talking about this. I believe the government of India initiated this state because it's actually the app is kept open to the public. So any government they really wanted to use it, they're free to use the app actually. So I have understood that a couple of other states, I think UP, Bihar and other places.
No, is
they
it
have to use
available on the Google Play?
It's on Google Play. It's available.
What is the name of the application?
It's called Swachh Pathshala.
Swachh Pathshala.
Swachh Pathshala.
No,
You
is
can
it
Google
a free
store. It's a free app.
Acha,
So
but
we have done.
At the back end, you're running the platform for the
Yeah,
app.
exactly. Yes.
So the schools will have to register on the back end,
Yes.
and so you provide this support free of cost.
We provide support. The revenue
of-
that we generate is the support that we give it to each government when they ask us. So that is the revenue that we generate actually.
Okay, okay. So any state government who wants to actually use this application,
Yes.
they get in touch with you,
Absolutely.
and the application is free while there's a business model for the platform.
Absolutely.
Which you work it out.
Absolutely. So what we do is entire story that we connect with the people. The dashboard for each government is different actually. Their laws are different actually. So what we do is entire story that we create there, we help them to do how to connect all these things with that what we do.
So how many such toilets are being monitored as of today on this platform?
And in Telangana, 32,000 toilets are being built
Yeah,
within given stipulated time.
right.
And all these 32,000 toilets are being monitored on regular basis. It's not only the toilet that we are trying to talk about.
Yes.
It's talking about whether the water available in the toilet. So the pictures have been taken online there. And while doing this, the officers and the government came to us. They asked us, can you do something else when we have this app? So the beautiful solution that we have made out of this is, when they are available there was a midday meal which was given to the school.
Okay.
So they take the pictures on time. They understand how many students are available there in the classrooms. So how many people are there having lunch. The teachers, they're present and the absentees, they can take a pictures. Attendance was taken effectively. So this app was absolutely used in many other ways, not only getting the toilet information.
Yeah, wonderful. I think this is an extremely relevant application for the monitoring, and then the data which is collected could be used for evaluations.
Absolutely.
Could you share some of your experience on the self-assessment also, some use case?
Yes.
In the assessment could be in terms of surveys or otherwise. So what is it and what is the kind of application you have for these surveys?
Yes, absolutely. See, now I'll just go through the couple of slides that I have done here. You can just go through that. You can go through that. You can go to the case studies which have been. Okay. I'll say you stop. You can stop. See, basically, if you can understand this framework, you can go back.
This is the Pathshala which we've actually
Yeah, you can go back. We have actually, if you look at this, the framework which we have done it, for all the government and government-sponsored projects, the central government utilizing technology for benefit of citizens and monitor activities on real-time basis. This was a major aspect that I'm trying to talk about to you. When you're talking about real-time basis, that means you are there at that particular time.
Yeah.
Is the biggest challenge today.
Yeah.
Now, whenever you see some work is happening, we always get the reports. It's actually a post-mortem to everybody.
No, I think I understand that, and in fact, what I'm also able to see is that the authenticity of the information,
Is
I
genuine.
mean, is guaranteed in this case because it's an end-to-end technology which is being used.
Yes. And more important that you see the behavior indicators patterns, improvements and corrections.
I think
then
you
and
should-
there, the government officials can talk saying that you're available there and taking a picture. The information, the government officer can tell them that this is a corrective measure that you have to be taken. So there is no delay in connecting the people and officers on ground, which they're really doing the work.
Very
actually.
right. I think Pradhan Mantri's Fasal Bima Yojana, I think it's a very, very important because that's a very major initiative, and where the crop insurance and the payment which has to be made to the farmers who actually pay the premium. A lot of times the right farmers do not get it.
Yes.
Because the middlemen come into picture.
Absolutely.
I think it would be a good idea for you to talk to Telangana state and have this application in that scheme and subsequently see.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, this is another challenge that we saw was whenever you do it, geofencing is one of the moderator tool that we have used in the mobile apps. That means somebody is going and checking out something at the location place. We have the geofencing location there.
Right.
So he is available there at that particular site. I know he is there. So this was actually made entire job of the system, which was so easy that they were able to get the real-time basis data. So that was a successful story of any
Absolutely.
mobile app today used worldwide, especially the government today in India, digitally the reforms which are happening with that, the revolution that happened with the geofencing actually.
Can we take the self-assessment use case, please?
Go back. Now I'll talk to you about one of the case study
Yes.
where I'll talk, which I spoke about Swachh Pathshala. This is a simple app that you see behind me here. This app shows very clearly that the person when he's standing there, like when he goes to a toilet, he takes a picture of the toilet there, and he shows that this is and he has to enter some parameters which is available there.
Right.
Schoolmaster saying that this is half done or full done or
Fine.
some work is pending, or he can also say that there's some problem at this location here. He can communicate back to the place where he has to communicate. So the entire system, the dashboard sitting at the headquarters are able to monitor them
Right.
online.
Yeah, and they can generate the reports accordingly and take
Absolutely.
the necessary actions, right?
So this was actually, when you look at it, this was a self-assessment for the entire government actually, to whether to make sure that these things are happening with their own officers who are going on the groundwork actually. So there was actually people who are checking out. When somebody, an officer, a DE or somebody, another officer who is going on the top and checking whether these available are there, he is randomly, he can't go to all the locations there at 32,000 schools. So he randomly goes to 5 schools there and checks whether what the information which he has fed or not, they can cross check actually. So the database or the dashboard which is there at the headquarters or the frameworks can be easily checked out actually. So Swachh Pathshala, one of the most successful story that has happened, where you can see the 32,000 toilets were built in given time, and our government of Telangana also received a lot of awards from the central government too.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, So, what about how do you use your platform for the surveys?
The service. So, for example, this is the entire story, that the software which is given. So, if you look at this, this is the service that we are giving a backup service to them. For example, they wanted to use attendance monitoring system or midday meal, depending upon what they really ask. Now it's actually kept at the free of cost at the free store. It's in the Google Play Store. It's available there. They can download it. If government needs more solutions across this the app that we have done, they take our services. But now it's available free of cost at the store.
Okay. Okay, what is your road ahead? You know, like now, can you make this platform as a very generic platform, general purpose platform, which is highly configurable,
Yes.
which is configurable by any user department at various states, whether they want to do a survey, whether you want to do a monitoring, they're able to actually fine tune the parameters as per the requirements of their own program. What is your roadmap on that?
See, yes. Now when you look at this, when you look at survey self-assessment that we have done for the schools building toilets, it's a generic one. When we made it, when we understood this could be the same problem across all the states.
No, this is domain specific.
Yes,
See,
absolutely.
which means the questions that you fed in,
Yep.
they would be specific to one environment.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
you can take, this is a generic platform, that means the architecture was built. Now taking this architecture, I can build any questions that can happen in this
Yeah.
same story. So job makes much easier. to
Can
do any
these
survey.
questions not be built by the user?
Yes, it's made.
That is precisely
Yes,
what
yes,
I'm saying.
absolutely, it
if
can be
you
made.
can come up with an administrative module
Absolutely.
which is configurable by
Absolutely.
the, currently I think in your this model,
Yes.
they have to approach you
Absolutely.
and you would be configuring.
Yes.
So
Now
if you
that was
could
one
do-
of the states that we have done actually. Now they can configure it by themselves. We have put it on the free app store. They can do it by themselves. But it's a good idea, and probably we would like to keep it open to.
It's
tool
actually
actually.
cloud, one of the features is empowerment of the
Absolutely.
end user, and I think it's going to be a true empowerment for them.
Absolutely.
Another important aspect which I want to ask you is in terms of the data that you are collecting. I think that's enormous, whether it's images, whether it's a message, whole lot of information. There is a lot of scope for analytics on this particular data.
Yes.
So, what have you planned on that in terms of data analytics?
Yeah, that was data analytics. Right now we are not touching that point, because the first problem is that we're trying to solve these problems which they are facing right now. That could be the second time, the second phase in the coming years, because this was the revolution just started last 1 year, that people are trying to implement the mobile application and apps where their problems are they are facing right now. Probably the data analytics part will definitely come into picture in while going the entire process. That will play a very vital role.
I would say incredible work, and I'm sure because of the paucity of time we are not able to take a lot of use cases. But could you share here with everybody in terms of how do you plan, or how do the states really approach your organization and take the advantage of what you have really done, and anything on the business model that you would like to say, you know?
Now we have, while going through this mobile app that you have seen right now, what we have done for Swachh Pathshala, there was government of Bengal has come forward to answer the question. They have seen that they wanted to have a similar solution where the sanitation and the cleanliness was the biggest challenge. The NGO organizations like Melinda Gates Foundation and Administrative Staff College of India, all these different organizations has come forward to help them, and they started trying to take help from companies like us, and we came forward saying that we will be there, that we will be there to help you to connect the entire solution. So self-assessment was become the biggest challenge today. Now what happened is when the Nirmal Vidyalaya that we have done it in Malda district, and Swachh Pathshala and Swachh Vidyalaya, that all schools have been done, 2 million schools participated this. Across India, this was a challenge thrown by the MHRD to all the schools to ensure that they wanted to monitor whether the entire story of sanitation, their attendance, the school cleanliness, whether to have a table, chairs available there. They are able to do a self-assessment and giving feedback to the government to understand what it is to you. This was done for 2 million schools, and 60 to 70% participation was there. It was voluntarily from all the schools, and government initiation has taken there, and we played a very active role working with the government actually. So this made a major change in the entire story actually.
Wonderful. I do see, you know, your this applicability in the smart cities and a whole lot of, in fact, this is going to be an integral part
Yes.
of any e-governance program that we are taking it up. So what I also, so I think we'll close now with
Yeah,
just
one
two points.
small example
Yeah,
I
please.
would like to share. This was one survey which was supposed to be done for the bus stops actually. So government of Telangana was trying to understand the Hyderabad city had number of bus stops which they have no clear how many bus stops were there. When you go back to the real data, they had only 1,200 bus stops available there in the database. But you really check of the recent times,
That's much more.
there were much more bus stops, and more important, these bus stops are well available there, and they've been encroached by other vendors who have put their shops across the place to you. And they wanted to get survey, and they wanted to generate revenue from these bus stops where they wanted to make a digital platform. They can book some advertisements on the bus stops where a lot of things can be done over there. So we have gone to the government called us, and we went to took initiation with them, and this app was developed in 7 hours.
7 hours.
7 hours we developed an app.
I really appreciate the speed at which your company actually develops, and I think that's one edge that you have in
Absolutely.
terms of.
Then we have given to the government, and we were used their mobile phones where the officers have gone there. The entire survey of 2,300 bus stops was done in 2 days
Great.
with the limited people actually. So this is actually made entire change for them to come back and understand the surveys which are being done by the government and the self-assessment where the teachers are able to do in 2 million schools. I could see a rational change, the entire change in the organizations where this can be implemented in all the organizations across the place. Whenever we want to do self-assessment, we did not do any homework actually. Like all the HR companies do the same thing in the corporate organizations, even government can do the same thing.
Wonderful. I think such a great work being done, and it has a great social benefit also in terms
Absolutely.
of. So in fact, Government of India, we have a huge platform, mobile platform. So I would be requesting that the applications, mobile applications that you
Yes.
have developed, let them be hosted on this platform also.
Absolutely.
It's a mobile platform that we have,
Okay.
M-Seva, which we call it, and it will help in bringing the awareness and trying to integrate many more departments onto this. So with this, I think the number of examples, I think they are endless, whether you talk about the bus stops, you talk about sanitation, you talk about water management, electricity, whatever. I think this is something that is required whenever you run a large program.
Absolutely.
And so what I would be suggesting is if you could just share with everybody your contact details,
Yes.
and if a department has to approach you.
Absolutely.
Once again, wonderful work, and we look forward to working very closely in all the initiatives.
Absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. You can contact us. We are a company called Grey Logic Technologies based out of Hyderabad, having an office in US and other places. Our email ID is, you can send it to Bhanu is my name, BHANU Bhanu @greylogictech.com, which I'll send it across to you. And all these mobile apps, which assessments you're talking about to you, or anything platforms that can be created, more important to the government organizations, we are there with you people.
Thank you so much for sharing your success stories, and which are the need of the hour today. And once again, great work and 3 cheers.
Yeah. Thank you so much. ma'am.
Thank you.